My name is Brittan Morris. I was born and raised here in Austin, Texas, where I still currently live and run 2 businesses. I'm a coach, I'm an athlete, and I'm an entrepreneur. I train my ass off, I have a good time here in Austin, but for 2 months out of the year, I do one of the most off-the-wall, insane sports that you've ever heard of. It's called ice cross. The 2 businesses I run here are Texas Forever Services, which is a pressure washing company with my best friend DJ Kilpatrick, and the other one is this gym, Atomic Outpost, which I run with the Atomic Athlete crew. Ice cross is downhill ice skate racing. This thing is next level rowdy. You are racing down a track made of ice. There are jumps, there are turns, there are features, and you're going down it with 3 other guys that are trying to rip your head off. When you get on a clean, freshly Zambodied sheet of ice, you can do all the skating and carving that you want. And then you get on to an outdoor ice track. There's huge divots in it. There's shit from trees that have fallen on it. Every single race, there's that slight chance that it's gonna be your last one. The first time I saw and heard about ice cross, I was like, this is my sport. I grew up playing ice hockey, and that was kind of my segue into the sport. I was always a really good skater, always very fast, but the whole stick and puck thing never really clicked with me. So ice cross is the perfect takeaway because you take the stick and puck right out of your hands and it's all about shredding down the ice. So it's just everything I love and everything I want to do in the sport. You know, growing up here in Austin, Texas, all I'd ever skated on was an ice rink. I get to this first race, the ice is bumpy and uneven, there's jumps, there's turns, I'm going faster than I ever gone on skates. I quickly learned that maybe I'm not as much of a badass as I thought I was. So even though I didn't do so hot my first race, I took that almost as a challenge and wanted to push myself and prove to myself that I could do this impossible thing, that I could do this sport that is so off the wall. That's what motivates me every day. For me, there's 2 very important things when it comes to my ice cross season. Number 1 is not getting injured, and the second one is going fast. How I do that is through my training. There's 3 parts to my training. Number 1, training in the gym. I'm working on power, I'm working on my explosivity. The second part of that is on the ice. I play a lot of hockey, I do a lot of free skating stuff where I don't have the stick and puck in my hand and I'm really just working on my edges and everything like that. And the third one is where the real fun comes in, and that's ripping around at the skate park and my rollerblades. This was a tip I got early on by the veterans of the sport, and is one of the best things that helped excel my career in the sport. The sport of ice cross only consists of about 200 athletes. I feel like a lot of athletes, especially hockey players, see it and they think that they can do it. So we see a lot of newcomers coming into the sport that do not last very long. They don't have the right mindset, maybe they're not quite crazy enough, or they just can't do the traveling and the time away from home and their work that it takes to really succeed in this sport. The first race for the 22 ice cross season for me is here in the US, up in Superior, Wisconsin, about as far north as you can get in the continental United States. This track in Wisconsin is my absolute favorite, simply because you just go fast. I like to go fast. Starting out with the drive up to Wisconsin for the racing. Luckily, I had my dad and my buddy DJ with me, and they did literally all of the driving. So I'm resting, relaxing, getting my mind right for the actual racing that's about to happen. Once we get there, we check into our little cabin, you know, very, very northern log cabin feel to it. Get there, get settled in, and go check out the track. So we're looking at it a little bit different than last year, but still very, very fast and open track, which I love. There's no real technicality to it. You're just ripping down the track full speed next to the other guys. So we start out with practice runs. This is the time for athletes to learn the track, maybe take it a little slow, look at some of the features, decide if you're gonna send it 40 feet or if you're gonna play it a little more cautious and make sure you don't eat shit. So this is really just learning the track and finding our race lines. After that, we do our time trials. So we're ripping individually down the track, racing against the clock. And then based on those time trials, they rank us 1 to 64. And then we go into groups of 4 and we race from there. This one, you're racing against 3 other racers. Top 2 move on, bottom 2 are eliminated. Your race day is done. If you move on, you go into 32, then 16, 8, and then the final 4, and then that decides your winner. Test it out, I feel pretty good on it. We get into time trials, and I don't have the best time trials. I fall on my first one because I'm just sending it way too hard, and then my next one, I have kind of a decent one. I think I placed around 10th in time trials, which isn't great, but I'm also pretty happy with it. Go into actual race day, round of 64, no problem, move on. Round of 32, it's me, TJ, and Kale, and one other racer, but the three of us were three that were in the finals last year. So in the round of 32, which is pretty early on, we already have a repeat of the finals. It's competitive already. Get a great start, I'm out in front, TJ's kind of right on my tail, Kale's beside him. I actually get bumped by TJ from behind and I send him kind of into the wall against Kale, hits Kale, Kale goes down, kind of carnage right off the end of the rollers, and then I get out in a pretty good lead and I end up moving on with TJ. Round of 8, semifinals, unfortunately did not get a great start. I end up in the back of the pack. I end up finishing 3rd in this one because my buddy Jack Schramm lost it around an edge, but still bottom 2, so I'm eliminated. Going to the small finals, I end up finishing 2nd behind Jack. Felt pretty good. Finished 6th overall. So even though I finished better than I time trialed, still not making to the finals stung a little bit. This is a race that I expect to make it to the finals and probably get close to winning every single year, at least have a chance in there. So not making it to the finals definitely sucked, but it kind of gives me that fuel to train even harder and push it for next year. So this was just the first race of the season. Now going to Europe. We got races in Finland, Italy, maybe Russia, but I'm excited. I'm ready to see what I'm capable of. I'm ready to push my limits. It's a very American morning here in Finland. It's gonna be a tight track, a lot of tight corners, room for carnage. It's gonna be fun. We got time trials tomorrow and the race on Saturday.
For the record, I'm done trying to make y'all comfortable. For the record, you ain't trying to grow, then it's done for you. For the record, lab on me going all the way. For the record, ain't trying to link, no time to waste. For the record, for the record, for the record.
Nice stand.